Welcome to Health in Retirement. Each week, we'll discuss some of the health challenges facing retirees. We'll focus on more than just physical health. We'll look at financial health, mental and emotional health, as well as spiritual health. With your host, Rebecca Jones. This is Health in Retirement.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Jones, and welcome to Health in Retirement, where we talk about everything that you need to know about retirement: physical, mental, spiritual, well-being. And today we have a guest, Raymond Elliott. Welcome, Raymond.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. So I've already spilled my coffee, but I'm going to try to keep from doing that for the rest of the show. So
Thank you.
Yes.
Please don't do that again.
I'm not nervous at all.
Not about cleaning up messes.
No.
So, Raymond, you work at OptiLife.
I do work at OptiLife, yes.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about fitness and the mental aspect that fitness, it also goes along with fitness as well.
Yeah.
What are some key things that you found working with people 55 and up in their fitness regimen?
And that's a huge demographic of people that I work with. And I think some of the major things that people obviously, older age, I think actually that demographic is one of the largest demographic of people that's getting personal training, because I think people want to maintain their active lifestyle, their independence.
Mm-hmm. They finally have time.
A lot of them are retired. They have the ability to invest a lot of times in that age group. And so, what I found is important with them. The vanity aspect of it is not as important. Not saying everybody likes to look better,
right.
But more the health aspect is a huge part of what they're trying to do at that age. And a lot of it's, a lot of people have aches and pains. 80% of people have acute lower back pain, so you're going to see that when we get older. We have sarcopenia, which basically all that means is that we start to lose muscle mass as we age. Some of our cognitive, our thinking aspect starts to decrease. So those are a lot of things that we work with older people, is increasing mobility, maintaining muscle mass and bone mass, because osteoporosis is also something that happens, maintaining cardiorespiratory, good weight.
Yes.
And then some of those cognitive things, like even doing like plyometrics, high explosive stuff is really good. And I think a lot of people avoid with older adults because we're worried, but they can if you do it, at a pace and where they're comfortable at, obviously.
Exactly. Maybe gradually, if they do have you as a personal trainer, so you are a personal trainer,
I am.
And having someone like you on their side that can really guide them through the ins and the outs and what is good for them, or the different, maybe, I don't know how you, what's the word?
Like progression, or just principles, or programming, or I'll just throw all of them.
Or, maybe not jump this high, you can do this instead.
All right.
The different ways they can incorporate different exercises until they do have that muscle gained up enough, or that mobility being gained, so to where they can do those full range of motions. Yeah,
I mean, as personal trainers, we learn it. For educational personal trainers, people that know, we do a systematic progression. So there's an idea, it's a journey. I always kind of like to think about it as like Mario World, maybe because that's, what I used to play. And I always think about like each step, you're kind of going through each one of those lands to like try to kill Bowser and get the princess, I don't know what it is, but it's like you're trying to accomplish certain things to get to each one, and each one of those are a challenge, and each one should be celebrated, and then you earn the right to get to the next thing. And I think that's the same thing with older adults. Wherever they start at, you have to figure out. So plyometrics might not be for everybody, because if you have osteoporosis already, we might not be wanting to jump around, because that can cause fractures. But plyometrics is one of the greatest things to do to help increase bone mineral density. So it's finding out where people are at, and then just systematically progressing them through there, and then expressing that and showing them how to do that each step of the way. And getting through each one of those challenges or accomplishments until they earn a right to do the next exercise, or the more difficult exercise.
So what can you tell me a little bit about maybe the difference in men and women? Are there maybe certain aspects or health
I'm not going for the Supreme Court. No, I'm just
health
like
benefits that
health benefits.
or just care that maybe as you age, maybe women need to be a little bit maybe more concerned about osteoporosis,
Yeah, I mean, I think I think in generality, there's not a ton of difference in training between men and women. I think that a lot of times we think that aspect, women, the whole, I'm going to tone, which I don't exactly, none of us are like guitars or pianos, but that were, lighter weights and all that stuff. And there's a lot of different circuit based and like guys are going to like strength based training. Really, women and men should train pretty similar in the same aspect at almost at any age. Obviously, there's going to be some differences, maybe more of like, biometrically, like, our women's hips are longer or wider, and there's some small things. I won't go into all those details because I don't know how long we have, but there's some minor details in that. But other than they should train most the same. Now, women do, especially through menopause, they are a lot higher risk of osteoporosis, and so that's something that we want to make sure that we continue. And that's why I think, like I said, heavier strength training. You actually need what they would call bone jarring exercises. You want small fractures that actually increases our osteoblast to actually add more bone mineral density. So it's actually osteoporosis is reversible, and it's a lot higher in women. Actually, osteoporosis is you have a higher chance as a female to get osteoporosis than you do to get breast cancer.
Wow.
And with hip fractures and other things like that, there's a lot higher chance of mortality. So literally increasing somebody's bone mineral density literally might save their life. So,
right.
And it doesn't take a ton to do that. I actually worked with a lady that had Parkinson's. And even though Parkinson's is a degenerated disease, it's very difficult to improve it. You're kind of just trying to keep it at bay.
Right.
But her doing exercise, her bone mineral density increased by a ton. And when you have Parkinson's, you fall a lot more or more susceptible to that. And and so
and then that would lead to the fractures.
Fractures and things like that. So we obviously hopefully that we helped out with the Parkinson's a little bit through some different cognitive things, which is also good for everybody and older adults. Hopefully we kept her bone mineral density up. So when she did fall, which happens, she didn't have those fractures that she may have had before just by doing,
it could have saved her life.
It could have, yeah. And we wasn't doing anything crazy. It's not like she was doing 200-pound squats.
Right.
Right.
But it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take a lot. You should focus on heavy weights as an older for what you can tolerate to create that higher bone mineral density, but it doesn't take a lot.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, Raymond. We will be back in just a minute with some more questions I have for Raymond Elliott with OptiLife. We are Health and Retirement, and I'm Rebecca Jones. Hi, and welcome back to Health and Retirement. I'm Rebecca Jones. We are talking about your physical health today. We've already covered so many things, osteoporosis, and how really it helps so much if you start lifting weights. And I think it's invaluable if you're maybe new to fitness in general to have a personal trainer to kind of guide you through. I mean, it can be kind of daunting. You don't know where to start. You can't remember maybe, what exercise or how to use it. I mean, I know I'm a stickler when I'm in the gym, form above everything. So again, I would like to welcome Raymond Elliott with OptiLife.
I'm back.
So can you tell us, you're affiliated with OptiLife. So
OptiLife Vitality Club. We have to throw that Vitality Club in there, make sure.
Vitality Club.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just joking. But yes, OptiLife. Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about what they offer?
Okay. Yeah. So I am with OptiLife. I've actually been with them shortly. I was with another facility. I've been training for 22 years. I know it's hard to believe that as young as I look, but I get it.
Oh.
I have now. Just playing. Yes.
Really? I thought you were only 22.
Yes. Thank you for that. I know that, viewers. But yeah, so I'm OptiLife, and I offered everything. What I love about OptiLife compared to a lot of other places, and I'm not like huge like plugging everything, but it is where I work out and I do love it. So I will talk about anything that I love, is that they are an all comprehensive facility. So a lot of places, they're just offering gym and maybe some classes. There, they believe in kind of like the whole full spectrum of health. So we also have a registered dietitian that is amazing. So she's going to look at a holistic approach to health. So there is calories in, calories out. We all should at this point know that that is the one major thing to lose weight, which is also another big part of retirement. People do seem to gain weight a lot more at that point, and that's probably one of the biggest health concerns is just overconsumption. But she's also going to look at the health benefits of that, which is going to be more important as it becomes more difficult. But we also have a ton of classes. Yoga would be a great thing for older. We have rejuvenation. We have stretching classes. Mobility decreases as we age, and in retirement as we sometimes set more if we're not as being as active as we was previous in our jobs. We have those things. Obviously, we have the gym. We have some of the best personal trainers in town, and those are the people who's going to create those systematic.
You being one of them.
Me being one of them. Yes, I am. So I also am the membership sales director. So I also get people involved in there. So that's one thing. And then I've just been doing personal training for so long. I just something that I love that like actually personally impact people's lives regardless of them at, and I love that relationship and like. It's something I feel knowledgeable in, so it gives me some self-actualization, being able to help people with that. But yes, personal training. Every one of our classes has somebody that's going to show people proper form, but personal training is something that we do have. We have a wonderful fitness director there, John Lee, and we want to make sure that everybody starts off on the right path and that they know exactly what they're doing. And you were saying form and foundation. That's the biggest part. We actually put people through a functional movement screen to see how the form is.
If maybe they're not using correct form, the thing that you can run into is injury.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then you're kind of worse off than you started.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so valuable to have someone like you on their side that can at least guide them through exactly how to use the weights and the exercises so they can, get the most benefit out of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Not only like injury would form, if you don't do the right form, you might not be working the right muscles properly or they're not firing properly, which is a hugely important for everybody, but also injured, right? Like injured people don't, like we talked about, like if you get that hip fracture, you have a higher risk of mortality. A lot of that's just because now you're less mobile. You're laying in a bed.
Right.
So if you're hurt, you're not going to work out. If I have a bad knee, I'm not typically going to run or work upstairs. So it can definitely, set people back away. So form, we call it the foundations. We want to teach everybody the foundations first. And then what I really like about it is once those get set, then I know that I can push people a little bit harder because I'm not concerned. Like I get excited. I'm like, ooh, that's a beautiful deadlift and squat. Now we can add some weight. But until I get there, I'm not going to push somebody hard in some other places.
So you're not going to make them cry. You're not a drill sergeant.
I try not to. I try not. No, I'm definitely. I'll push people. We like to take people to their level or above, but I have to make sure that those foundations, that form, is set first. And once all those things, I kind of think of it as like scaffolding. Like if you have solid scaffolding. I don't know if we're using this scenario, you can put a lot of weight on it, but if it's all kind of all over the place, everything's not fitting together properly, and it can come crumbling down. So we want to have a nice foundation. Once that's set, then we can really start to push people a little bit harder, regardless of what age you are. I've had people's in their mid-70s doing box hops and 200-pound plus deadlifts.
Wow.
Which,
in their 70s.
Oh yeah, in their 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I would have been worried about, and not saying I'm still not okay, but I'm not as worried about because we took a time period way before that to make sure that everything was up and we worked them up to that.
You set those building blocks up prior.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
The building blocks.
Yes. And other than form, another thing I want to touch on is the mind-muscle connection. I think that's one thing that maybe a lot of people maybe coming new into exercise kind of miss. They just go into doing the exercise. Can you tell us a little bit about the mind-muscle connection? There's
actually been a lot of more studies on the mind-muscle connections. They've even shown when you like physically cue and like touch the muscle, there's actually more contraction in that. So they're actually looking at a lot more in that. But I think focusing on where you're working on, I think a lot of problems with people is not doing the right tempo. So they're not using the right time within those and are just kind of muscling through those. They're not really thinking about it. So it can be huge, one, because you do have a higher focus. So you probably are activating the right muscles, which will help out with form. And then two, there is some studies that saying that there can be increase in muscle mass in those muscles that you have that connection with. And so that's always, obviously building muscle is a good thing as well. So.
Awesome. So can you tell us if our listeners are interested in getting involved with you and having a regimen with you and really taking their life in their own hands, being their own health advocate and wanting to have the best quality of life,
right, of
and
course.
accomplish these goals of lifting 200 pounds
or more,
whatever their goal
we
is.
won't set no cap.
Exactly. Or if it's just, helping, maybe they have an injury. Is that something you can also help them work through?
Oh, yeah.
Bad knees or things like that?
I mean, we're not physical therapists, so we never tried to act like that.
No.
But if there's a saying, Dr. John Rustin, I said this, which I went through his pain-free performance. He said, if we don't work with people with pain, we won't have a job, because 90% of people have injuries. So we become very accustomed to either working around it or helping out with that. But yes, so you can come to OptiLife at 21st and Webb, or you could also email me at relliott, RELLIOTT, at opti-life.com, and I can give you all the information and set you up.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Raymond, for joining us today. And next, we will have Cory Hiebert.
Now, our health tip of the week.
This is your health tip of the week. Did you know that some of your favorite healthy foods can have an adverse side effect on your medication? Grapefruit, I know it's one of those things that it can have an adverse side effect on your medication. And I know you're wondering, but Rebecca, it has so many great benefits. It has great antioxidants. It's great for heart health. It helps maintain your weight and your blood sugar levels. So, my tip to you is just to go to your doctor or your pharmacist and make sure that you can still enjoy the wonderful benefits of grapefruit today.
For more health tips, go to healthinretirement.com. This has been your health tip of the week.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Rebecca Jones with Health in Retirement. A lot of times we plan to invest, but when we go to retire, we put so much of our energy into investing our money for retirement. But as we know, our health is something we really need to invest in as well. And today I have with me Cory Hiebert. Thank you for joining us today. I do have a few questions for you. In Medicare, when someone has a plan, if they're needing physical therapy, is that something that Medicare covers?
Yeah, so of course there's the two options that we have whenever we look at that additional Medicare coverage when it comes to either a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage plan. So if we're on something like a Medicare supplement, that would be completely covered under your supplement itself. So you would not be paying anything additional whenever you went in for that physical therapy. Now, depending on the type of therapy, when it comes to a Medicare Advantage plan, we could be looking at an array of different co-payments for particular ailments, such as a cardiac or pulmonary physical therapy, or just therapy in general. Those can tend to be on the lighter side, $5 or $10. But then for something like a physical therapy, a rehabilitation in general,
Right.
You're looking at anywhere from the $25 to $35 range, depending on which plan you went with, Medicare Advantage-wise.
Right. And really, that's what we're trying to bring our listeners here today. A lot of advice and ways to maybe not be injured and not have to maybe have those co-pays and that money out of pocket. So you can do more of the things you want to do when you're retiring, like vacation and spend time with your grandchildren, be at the utmost health, so you can run around with the kids and enjoy your retirement. Another question I was thinking of, so as I spoke to our previous guest, we talked a lot about osteoporosis and some other things and how it can be helped. There's other things that goes along with maybe weight gain and say diabetes. If someone comes in and they have diabetes and they already are on a Medicare plan, but then they choose to start working out and they're able to reverse it and they don't need, their coverage is different now. They don't need so much coverage. It's going to change. So should they come see an advisor like yourself to get advice?
Yeah, definitely. So with a pre-existing condition such as like a type 2 diabetes, which isn't genetic, it can be fixed through proper diet or physical exercise. Whenever those situations do change, you then do have an opportunity to make some changes to your Medicare plan. For instance, your prescription drugs are most likely not costing you as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. So that would work on the prescription drug plan, or maybe you want to change the Medicare Advantage plan. Now, for a Medicare supplement, type 2 diabetes actually can be a disqualifier if we ever want to change supplement plans, because to make changes to those plans, we do have to go through underwriting. Now, different companies do have standards as to what they will ask you about in your underwriting.
Right.
Now, whatever standard that is, there is a look-back period. So depending on when we get that issue solved, we could look at making changes and saving you some money.
There's a lot of integral parts that goes into that. So how can they get in hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach out here at our local office at 316-252-8707. Our receptionist would be glad to chat with you and set up a meeting, free consultation.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for joining us today, Cory. You always have so much valuable information. And I'm Rebecca Jones with Health in Retirement.
This broadcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or is excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Legal services are offered by Eidelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.